Madison, Wisconsin is as good as it gets if you are like me and you love the college sports.
This is the Jump Around with Jim Rutledge and Pablo Iglesias, outfitted by Iron Jock Apparel, streaming live on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
Dancing down the sidelines. Can they catch him now? The Badgers answer instantly. There will be no undefeated champion on Wisconsin with an unbelievable stretch drive to the championship game. Gordon again, inside the 5, touchdown! What a performance by Melvin Gordon.
Chucky Hepburn, Big Ten on the line. Yes!
It's over. The Wisconsin Badgers win 17-9. They are the first Big Ten team ever to win successive Rose Bowl games.
That is the best college sports town in America.
It is the Jump Around Extra on ESPN Madison's YouTube stream. You can stream us back on the ESPN Madison YouTube stream and ESPN Milwaukee. Normally this show is on a Thursday at 12:50 or 12:30, excuse me. But we are hopping on early today, Pablo Iglesias, because the Wisconsin Badgers and Chris McIntosh have continued to infuriate Badger fans. Because I'll be honest, Pablo, another ho-hum ass-kicking by Ohio State wasn't really something that needed a special podcast for, a special live YouTube show for. But when your AD comes out, and I don't want to read the whole letter because it's sad and pathetic and long, but basically says we're a poverty program. We don't have any money to fire Luke Fickell. We can't afford that buyout. So what we're going to do is ask you for more money, blame you for not giving us more money, and trust me, the man who runs this administration that does not have enough money to fire a coach they maybe should fire, to then figure out how to raise enough money to field a program so they won't fire the head coach. Pablo, that is one hell of a mind bend that Chris McIntosh is trying to sell us.
Yeah, I'll start a little light like this. Basically, what I had said, the epitome of the, hey, not gonna read that, congrats or sorry that happened. That letter was way too long, and I know that it went out to season ticket holders, but it just felt like a lot of fluff. It felt like a lot of nothing. It felt like, okay, great, where is this? Like, I know that, hey, you're probably frustrated too, like everybody else right now. I felt the frustrations, but it's more than just this full PR statement. It feels like, you know what? Say it somewhere versus a written statement. Say it at, I don't know exactly what the Rose Bowl celebrations were this weekend. Did he say those? And I'm not going to sit here and question Chris McIntosh from that, what you can't control now. Like, you can't go back in time and speak at those Rose Bowl ceremonies, but it's more of what's ahead. How can you show to fans? How can you show face? How can you, and it's not like going on this full PR tour across the way, but something more public than this. This just doesn't. What does this really do? Where can I feel the emotion? The only thing I've seen is just Luke Fickell just speaking, which he still needs to do. Like, yep. I mean, that's what the coach does every single week. He doesn't need to address all these things. If he's asked about it, sure, go for it. But we haven't seen anything from Chris McIntosh, and I would just maybe that just is having him say something. But that feels like. That feels like a better step. Would I feel confident about the program? No, but I would still at least like to actually hear from him versus here's a written statement that's like 2 pages long, and I'm already checked out by the time I read the second paragraph.
Yeah, I'm going to stand up real quick so everyone can see my shirt here.
This is a great thing that we didn't even mention.
A no quit for the Wisconsin Badgers, and there's plenty of quit in these Badgers. So I have taken out the no with a yellow piece of tape thanks to Hunter Vaughn, who is performing better than Hunter Simmons
in
helping out teammates here. I had a white piece of tape on. He said it did not stand out enough, so I have switched to a yellow piece of tape. Plenty of quit in these Badgers. And I'm not saying that to rip the kids. I'm saying that because this is where we're at as a program. And I don't blame them. because this is horrible. And I think there's more Ohio State fans at Camp Randall than there were Badger fans the other day. I think this program is in dire straits. I don't think Luke Fickell can fix it. I think it is one of the most depressing statements I've ever heard where it says we're too broke to fire our coach.
Yeah.
You got coaches getting fired everywhere. Florida State, Penn State. And Wisconsin, like I get tired of it with the Brewers too, and I'm going to get tired of it with the Badgers. If you want to raise the money, the Badgers have a massive alumni base. And it's not the football player, oh, don't go find a former NFL player to pay that. That's actually really silly thinking. Like, J.J. Watt's not going to save this program with his money.
No.
Ted Kellner saves this program with his money. You need people who own businesses, who have generational wealth and consistent income to be the ones funding this program. You want private equity. You want big-time real money, people who can give annually over and over again. And I'm not saying J.J. Watt isn't liquid. My point is J.J. Watt is a retired football player. He does have avenues, but the people who can make a difference massively with this, and also, by the way, you didn't pay J.J. anything, so why is he giving back the program? But anyways, the people that can make the biggest difference are the millions of alumni who are in a position where they could give some money regularly because they are Madison alums and they are people who likely are working good careers and have money to donate to the program. This isn't going to get them to do it. And my understanding, from what I gather, and I don't talk to everyone else's NIL, but I would say that there are plenty of businesses in the Madison and Wisconsin area that are not thrilled with how Wisconsin runs its NIL.
Yeah.
The what's in it for them, the WIFM, is non-existent, which means why am I doing this? So a guy will show up at a golf outing one time?
Yeah.
Or I can have the privilege to say I donated to pay for the quarterback?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the stuff that, like, how do you not know what you're doing right now? And also, my understanding is they're a little bit Pollyanna. They're like, oh, look, the new system will save us. And one last thing here, and I hate to say this, they kind of have to get real, and I know Mac doesn't want to do this, and you kind of have to start doing what all the other schools did, and things like wrestling and other things have to become club sports. And I hate to say that, but if Wisconsin wants to compete as a football program, that's what everyone else is doing. And, oh, by the way, Wisconsin has basically done that, my understanding, with the funding for them. They just haven't pulled the Band-Aid off.
It is constantly trying to figure out what's right for college sports. It feels like what's right today could be wrong tomorrow. But we have constantly talked about how there is a branding issue. There is a bigger thing. And now with NIL, with the comments that you've heard and conversations that I've had as well, it's good that donors are coming in and wanting to help out, but what are they getting? What's the return? And is this coordinated? Now, that's the big question, and that's where the brand hurts as well. Again, it's tough. It's so frustrating to know, like, hey, you're getting something coming in, but it's just haphazard. How do you get some control of this? And the thing that I fear right now for the rest of the season is that, hey, Wisconsin fans might not be at the game, but now we've got Washington and we've got Illinois remaining on the rest of the schedule, is that Riley and I, we were hosting the post-game show over in Middleton, a great location, great spot, great crowds. We ran into Ohio State fans who came up, talked to us, nice guys, and they said, hey, Madison's still a great place. Madison was fun. This almost kind of becomes a bucket list now because tickets are so accessible for fans to go out and travel. It's like when the Bulls and the Bucks were playing. It's easier to go see the Bulls play in Milwaukee and stuff like that. So it's just annoying to think, and hopefully this isn't a long-term thing, but I could see that definitely happening, especially with Illinois being an easy drive. If you're a diehard Illinois fan, if you can't make it to Champaign, why not just come to Madison to watch your team? You could pay, you go to a different city, you get to see all that, and instead of the stadium being flooded with cardinal and white, you got your enemy's colors coming in for that week. It's that how you can let that happen is frustrating me a lot. Love that people are getting to see Madison. But,
yeah. Riley, you've been silent. Riley Yauk behind the glass here. Go ahead, Riley.
Yeah, so what frustrates me, Luke Fickell just frustrates me so much because I was at his press conference today, and I really like him as a person. I've said that a lot. And I could tell today when he was talking that he cares very deeply about his players and about his kids. He went on an impromptu rant. He was about to he was standing up to leave the press conference. Then he sat down and was like, actually, one more thing. This Nizer Forkurian situation, this kid is getting screwed. It pisses me off. They are ruining his future. You can tell he just cares so much about his players. And I want to support him so badly. But when you don't understand how important the alumni base is, the fan base, everything surrounding Wisconsin football, everything off the field, when you can't invest in that and you don't know how to become like a Wisconsin man when you're an outsider and embrace the culture here, you screw yourself over. And you just don't put yourself in a position to succeed. And it's clear that he doesn't understand how to galvanize the fan base, how to get the high school coaches in this state on his side. He doesn't seem to know how to get people outside of his players on his side, which pisses me off because if he just had a better presence, I think he would really be supported and be a lot more successful. Even if he was struggling on the field, he'd have people in his corner supporting him. But because he has been completely inept with everything off the field and not showing up to events and all this stuff, you put yourself in this situation, and more than likely, you're going to get canned even with this letter of support and all that's going on right now. So that's my 2 cents.
It's also worth, this was mentioned so many times on the CBS broadcast, Carson Hinsman, the only Wisconsin native on Ohio State's roster, or at least on part of Ohio State's starting line. And look, honestly, Ohio State, even in the state that Wisconsin was in when Carson was being recruited, I can understand if Ohio State's coming knocking on your door, you're going to be our starting center. Yes, that's a different thing. But it's more of the principle of it. Like you said, Riley, it's losing not just, hey, it's great that he's got the locker room, but losing out on the recruits, losing on the guys who could truly be through and through Wisconsin guys, no matter what. It's the problem again of the brand issue. And that's where we're at.
And when you talk about brand equity, they don't have any. Luke Fickell, how can he sell to players that I'm going to turn you into an NFL player? We'll get to the scouts in a minute. Because I don't know what's more surprising that Luke Fickell...
This has been known as an NFL factory.
Yeah, but
Jack Nelson, even, I know this isn't all Luke Fickell, but it's more of like Jack Nelson, the fact that he should have not been a 7th-round pick. Mm-hmm. Jack Nelson was a really good offensive lineman, and the fact that he was a 7th-round pick, Hunter Wohler even, too, both of those guys, great ballers. But Jack Nelson specifically, having 4 coaches in 4 years... and he still made it out of into the NFL. That's awesome. That's great for him, but it's also it can also be seen as an indictment on the program overall in that structure.
Yeah, and Wohler and Nelson were Paul Chryst recruits. Yep. So what I was going to get to is I don't know if it's more surprising that Luke Fickell is allegedly or reportedly locking scouts out of practice, or the scouts are going to practice. Because I don't know what the hell they're going to go see.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, what are you going to see at practice? But there's no brand equity with Luke Fickell as far as being a good coach. Unfortunately, here at Wisconsin, there's no brand equity. They've gotten progressively worse. They are staring 2 wins in the face. That is not tenable. That is not something you can bring back. I'm sorry if you, as I said before, get to 4 or 5 wins. I ain't gonna like it, but you at least could try to sell it. Hey, you haven't had your quarterback. We need to get better players in here. But here's the other part of it: recruiting, things like that. Riley, that you talked about, that can be helped by assistants. Well, he's not going to get rid of Tressel, and he just brought in Grimes, so you're kind of stuck with what you got as far as recruiting for those assistants. I don't know about everyone else in there, but the only thing I can think of, because this program has no brand equity, nobody cares what Mac has to say anymore. No fan is buying in. Like, nobody is buying in what Luke or Mac have to say. Right now, it's just, I guess, if this is what we have to accept, then this is what we have to accept, but apathy is going to set in. The only thing I
feel like apathy's already set in.
I think the only thing that could save this program, and we've heard rumors of it, and maybe this is the next step, but it's this idea of bringing in a big name to be the quote-unquote GM that answers directly to the chancellor. I know there's a lot of shots at the chancellor. I just don't know enough. I don't know if we're just mad or we're just yelling at the clouds and just trying to yell up the ladder. I don't know enough to know her investment into this, but I will say that if there's a setup where, and I'm just going to say a name because this is who I'm just going to champion for. I don't know if it's the right name. It's like Joe Thomas. Mm-hmm. If Joe Thomas comes in and he says, hey, I've seen what Luke's doing here. I've seen how our NIL and all that kind of stuff is run. We need to fix that. This isn't on Luke. He's going to buy himself a year. And that's the only way you can do it, is you got to bring someone in here who will resonate with Badger fans, who also can help Luke understand the alumni base, what it means to reach out to them. Maybe help Mac understand that too, because my understanding is he's not the greatest with the alumni base. I don't know if Mac has... All right, Luke Fickell clearly seems to have that salesman mentality that you need to have, that bombastic mentality as a coach nowadays to succeed, most likely in college. I mean, I don't know if Mac has that. I'll tell you right now, a younger Barry Alvarez would be crushing it in the NIL era. Mm-hmm. People would be handing money hand over fist to him, and this program would be crushing it. I'm not just saying that because he does a show on our airwaves. Barry walks into a room and there's a presence. Mac, and maybe because he's so big and physically assuming, he's almost unassuming in rooms. We heard multiple things. One, I'm sure this was strategic. They didn't put him on camera at the halftime.
I did see that.
Yeah.
And we've heard from multiple people that he didn't talk a lot, like in front of the group at the Rose Bowl reunion stuff.
And that's a shame.
It is, but it's also his
Regardless,
personality in general. I don't think, and I'm not saying he has to be, but if he's not a brilliant businessman that has his whole, Moneyball type system set up where they're raising money, then you better be the guy that owns the room when you walk in and everyone just wants to give you $100 no matter what.
Yeah. At the very least, I don't know if he did address awesome or if whatever he said. This is a big weekend regardless with what's happening in this microscope. This is a big moment. These are historic teams that are there. So beyond appreciation. I mean, this is a cornerstone of what helped make the program known what it is today. I don't know, and that's just that's frustrating to me. It's I don't know what else to say, man.
This program right now, it's like the Simpsons meme. This is the worst day of my life so far as a Badger fan, and no, it's the worst day of your life so far. Because I'll tell you what, everyone feels worse. Saturday sucked. They got their butts kicked. It was non-competitive. That's why I'm wearing the shirt again with the no quit, the no crossed out on no quit, because that team looked non-competitive. You haven't scored a touchdown in 11 quarters. Are they going to score more than 5 touchdowns the rest of the year?
I doubt it.
I mean, how? They might go 3 straight games without scoring a touchdown. Might be 4 because Indiana's defense is pretty good too. We got Washington there. They're 37th in scoring defense. Did they score a touchdown this year? The rest of the season?
I don't even know. It's the fact that we're asking scoring touchdowns versus can they squeak out a win is just terrible in itself. And I don't feel confident about anybody right now in this schedule, especially with looking at Minnesota pulling off that upset against Nebraska on their home turf.
But that's what I'm getting at, is that you got nothing to look forward to, and this Fickell letter made Monday worse than Saturday. Yeah. Because you asked me, are they going to are they going to fire Fickell? And I kind of said, if not now, then they never will.
Yep.
At this point, when you get a letter to the season ticket holders, to your point, to season ticket holders, not out on socials, not out on their website that I checked, not out it was to season ticket holders, is cowardice. If you want to say all this, then go out there in front of everyone and tell us with Luke Fickell and say, hey, we stink. We're not raising enough money. I'm the problem. I'm going to fix it. This is what we're going to do. And you write a letter. I remember Bo Ryan being upset at Jared Udoff because Jared Udoff slipped a note under Bo Ryan's door when he knew Bo Ryan wasn't there that he was going to transfer. And then Bo Ryan's getting dragged across national media. I did national media hits defending Bo Ryan on this because all Bo Ryan wanted was for Jared to show up and be like, hey, I want to transfer. And once Jared did that, he could transfer. All I want is Chris McIntosh to show up in front of everyone and say, hey, this is the problem. I'll read this statement and then I'll answer questions. A letter to the fans of season ticket holders, especially, is cowardice.
Yeah. And that's why I have much more respect for Luke Fickell. He has to get up every week in front of us and answer difficult questions. Chris McIntosh, apparently, as well, we've heard that at the Rose Bowl event on Friday, he said like a couple sentences to the Rose Bowl squad, which these are his teammates. These should be the people you're most comfortable in front of. And he doesn't say anything and gets off and gets out of there. Fickell didn't even show up. McIntosh, they're trying to project confidence, but there's clearly none.
How is
whatsoever.
Fickell not at that? Because, again, from a branding purpose, go there and wrap your arms around those guys and be like, tell me some stories. If I'm Luke Fickell from a branding purpose, I'm calling Barry. Hey, Barry, you want to come in every week? We can maybe we'll get some strategic photos together. But every week, just come in and shoot the crap with me for a half an hour. I'm busy, you're busy, but let's just have a phone call. Let's have a cup of coffee. Let's have a Coors Light later in the day. Whatever it is, just hang and wrap your arms around the most important things in the program, which is Barry Alvarez and those Rose Bowl teams.
Yes, and a lot of those guys were there for like the 1990, 1991, the seasons where the Badgers were terrible. Pick their brains, get some advice, at least garner some sympathy. All of these guys want you to succeed just as much as you do, even if they don't like you personally. So just do something.
And instead, and I talked to, I think, 5 or 6 former players about the Dane Brugler story from The Athletic. Instead, you got players. You see Nate Tice mentioned it on air. Kaylin, I forgot her name from ESPN, their last name, who reported.
Auerbach, I believe.
Kaylin Auerbach, she confirmed this. I don't know if we're conflating two people there. Maybe not. But maybe Pablo can look that up. But Kaylin reported it that her sources confirm what Dane Brugler said. Luke Fickell has denied that he was keeping scouts out. From what I've heard, scouts were there in the spring. Absolutely. Scouts were allowed there in the fall some. Scouts have been getting restricted access during game week since the season started for a while now. That is what I can confirm too. And the players who heard about this, all to a T, were like, this is awful. Just paraphrasing it. Some swore, some didn't, some had different reactions, but essentially the reaction was, this is terrible.
This hurts. This could have long-term effects on the players as well. Beyond whether or not we can question. This isn't a matter of if we're questioning if there is NFL talent, whatever it is, if there's pro talent on this roster. That's not the point here. I look at, and I doubt that NFL teams would be petty about this, but who's to say? Think about Pro Day. Usually that's always a big thing. All 32 teams, and you're thinking of other leagues that are out there. You're thinking about that showcase. That brings in a lot of scouts. That's a good opportunity to come to Wisconsin and get to see that. If you're already closing off and you're only using Pro Day potentially as the one opportunity to come see our team. I mean, again, I hope it doesn't get to that petty level, but who's to say that it can't either? Who's to say that if it comes to Pro Day that teams will be like, well, you know what? Maybe we won't show up. Maybe we'll try to send a message, which hurts the kids.
Or doesn't send the right people.
Yes.
The people that carry the most money. Kaylin Kaler from ESPN. She is a, let's see what I got her bio right here.
Well,
senior NFL writer, formerly of The Athletic and Monday Morning Quarterback SI, but she is a NFL writer for ESPN. Kaylin Kaler says, have confirmed this with several scouts, retweeting the Dane Brugler story, who have been told all of practices closed to them at various points throughout the year, dating back to August and as recently as last week. Fickell denied Dane's report in a presser Saturday, and one scout said to me, he knows he's lying. Someone said to me, lies. That's my note there. She goes on to say, Fickell said it's not like Belichick and UNC, but here's what they added, but it's actually worse. Practice access because UNC allows scouts to view 3 periods of practice. Wisconsin has shut them out of entire practices.
I was really on board with at least it's not as bad as UNC, and then all of a sudden it's actually worse. How is it worse? Because we saw the situation. I understand how it's worse now, but that makes me even more upset that it's worse than the Bill Belichick situation. And we were just up in arms when the Belichick news came out, and it looks like there's even more just from the Pablo Torre podcast too, with all that with the film crew.
Yeah,
but
at least there's not
regardless-
some controlling girlfriend in this situation.
Oh,
I guess.
good.
Yeah, it's all unfortunate. By all accounts, Luke Fickell seems like a good guy.
Yes.
And I think he does care, and I think he is a good coach. To me, this is more about you've lost the thread. The fans are disinterested. There is nothing, outside of winning out, because even if you beat Oregon and lose the rest of the way, nobody's going to be that excited. You'll be excited for that game, but that's not going to turn the tide. Because here's the other part of it. As I said earlier, we got James Franklin at Penn State. You got who's down at Norvell?
Mike Norvell, Madison guy.
Mike Norvell is Florida State.
I'm sorry.
Jay
I'm
Norvell is a
thinking Jay.
Madison guy,
yes.
also fired. Not related to each other, but Jay is a Madison guy.
Let's bring them both together. Yeah.
And then you have Trent Dilfer was let go. Deshaun Foster was let go at UCLA. I'm just trying. There's more, but coaches. Oh, Billy Napier at Florida were let go. All these schools are not poverty programs like Wisconsin, who can't afford to buy out their coach. It's embarrassing that the Badgers are doing it. So it just piles on where the Badgers can't even afford to do the move that they might need to do. So it is wild where the program is at right now, and it is disappointing. And it's, for me, Pablo, it's about, as we talked about,
Yeah.
there's no positive brand for the Badger football team. Mac and Luke carry no brand equity. And outside of dumb luck, there's no way out of this outside of at least moving on from Fickell, maybe cleaning house, because people are going to speak with their dollars, and they have. Think about how many people actually went through the gate for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Student section never filled. The stadium never filled.
It's a reported sold out, sellout is what it's called.
Yeah, we'll see the...
Or it's a paid sell. I forgot how they phrase it, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. They need people to show up so you can buy that $15 pretzel.
Yeah.
So, and all those Coors Lights.
Which costs more than the tickets to get to the game itself.
Right. That's the thing. Tickets were cheap. And honestly, I guarantee that stadium, I swear it was over 50% Ohio State.
I wouldn't be surprised. Looking here at the YouTube chat as well. Hey, actually, got to get a shout out. Somebody asked, or somebody said, Pablo, I hate to say this, but all the administration needs to go. I don't think that's out of the question. I don't think that's out of the question. Yes, it goes from Fickell, McIntosh to Mnookin. I don't know if it goes to the level or reaches the level of Mnookin, but I think there should be some pressure added to this. This is more 100% a Fickell and McIntosh. Mac saying that this is his guy. And something that comes to mind, too, of as Riley had brought up, too, is this is, I will say, this was a completely different situation. I remember being in the press conference room after the Wisconsin-Michigan post-game brawl. And I remember Chris McIntosh. I understand. You do need to be in that room. I praised him. I think that was a fantastic move that he came in and defended Greg Gard. Vastly different situation. Do not get me wrong. But it's more so the principle. If you feel like that you want to defend Luke Fickell and you feel like that you need to speak up and you want to show face, it's not about, hey, if you field the questions, you field the questions. But I will say, and again, I will back up and say these were different scenarios, but more of the principle of it. If you want to show, hey, I've got this guy's back. I'm the athletic director. I'm the guy who brought him in. He didn't even bring in Greg Gard. He defended him and made sure that this situation was, I'm talking to the Big Ten and then all these things. He said the right things in that moment. But we need to see something like that too. We need to see something like this at least to show up, because as Riley had pointed out as well, which I think is really fair, it's not fair on Luke Fickell to only be the person that's showing face publicly, at least, to the fan base, to more reporters. Something, even if it feels like it's don't make it feel like a PR move. Genuinely answer the questions. Like it could be to reporters, it could be on a Monday press conference. That's where I feel like Mac needs to show up somewhere.
Yeah, and I think Fickell needs to show up more. That's a big issue. But before we sign off here, I do have some interesting information. This comes from the Badger 247 board, and there's a certain user who
now we're getting to the boards.
No, he has very good information. He's some higher up, either on the Board of Regents or something. He just goes by Roger Man, and this is publicly accessible information. So just laying this out for you. He said that Jennifer Mnookin came to either the Board of Regents or some higher up board in the athletic department regarding football. And she said he listed 5 points. One, They're not where they want to be. Obviously, everyone's been saying that. 2, that they made a mistake when it came to how they addressed NIL. Chris McIntosh wanted it to be where players sort of earned NIL money and they got incentives in these contracts where they should have just front-loaded the money like every other school does, and I'm assuming more guarantees. So they messed up NIL. 3, injuries have killed the talent this year, and there's tons of redshirt freshmen, which I understand. But again, if you don't have anyone backing you and it seems like there's regression every year, you don't get that excuse as much. So number 4, she, and more importantly Mac, they have confidence in Luke Fickell's ability to coach, which I do agree with, but we haven't seen anything on the field, so it's really hard to defend that. And 5, this one's interesting, and I don't know if it's really relevant, but they might have to change state laws regarding NIL. I don't know, that's way above my pay grade, but that's very interesting, and ultimately he summed it up with, she knows what's going on, she cares about football, and wants to fix the issue. So I'm not really worried about Chancellor Mnuchin, because I believe this is good information. It's just they've made so many mistakes entering this new NIL era of college football, and it's probably going to cost both of them their jobs. And that, well, it sucks for Fickell.
Mac and Fickell.
Yes, it appears.
Yeah. I think the one thing, and I'm not saying it'll happen, I'm not saying that I'll be happy with this, but a big name person to come in and be the GM. If it's not a big name, then you go, hey, you know what? I'm just using them as an example. Indiana, we poached their GM. Like, you know, that. Like, we have
didn't USC take over? What was his name? I don't know if he was the GM.
Mars, right? He was a young guy.
Yeah, he was not a real GM.
Yeah.
He was a good. He was like a hype man on campus. He was like nice for recruiting, but like the Badgers took.
I know he was really he was really well touted or highly touted, but I just wanted to make sure.
It speaks to like he went to USC and he's like an assistant to the assistant. Like he's not in charge.
Yeah,
he was in charge. You need the person who has it, I believe, has a doctorate. Like the person in charge now of football operations is a smart businessman. So I'm not saying they're doing a bad job. I'm just saying that from a brand equity purpose, you need to stick someone in here and maybe slot everyone down and have whoever's currently running it, name's escaping me, but I know he's a really smart fella, that like he could be doing it, and then person X could come over the top, work with that person, and then just kind of be that brand equity and be all those things. Because, again, the fact that Wisconsin, Pablo, I'm glad you brought that up, the fact that Wisconsin had like a kid in there who was essentially like a hype man speaks to they didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Yeah.
Because no other school had that. I mean, everyone else is like they had to replace him with someone who's got a doctorate because it's a real job.
Yes.
So Wisconsin's got a long way to go.
It just seems like everything from the end of the Christ era to where we're at now in the Fickell era, just about every possible major decision has been botched.
Right. Look at it like that. Remember, Paul Christ didn't want social media for the Badger recruiting.
A whole social media team came in. Hey, they do great.
Right,
they do great stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not ragging on them. I love the stuff they do.
That's where they came from. Paul Christ didn't want that, and I believe they had the smallest. I forgot there was a story that someone left Wisconsin to go to Michigan State to take like a scouting department job. They had the smallest like scouting department in Big Ten.
Yeah, I actually have a friend, I play slow pitch softball with him, who was on Paul Christ's recruiting department before he was fired. And he was a student at the time. There were 4 students running recruiting and one
adult.
Yeah, one adult. It's like, how? You're Wisconsin, for crying out loud.
Summer internship. Come learn the world of recruiting.
The guy who left, I think there was 2 of them. And they actually were doing a good job, but there was only 2. And he's like, this is too much work.
Yeah.
Like, I think he went, that's why I remember the story. I think he went from 2, Michigan State had 4. And he was either their 5th or their 4th. And just like right there was the change off.
Yeah. I will say, my friend did help recruit Dylan Jones. He's very proud of that. but that's it.
And also, besides all that, is anyone healthy at running back? We'll talk about all that on Thursday.
Yeah. Right.
Because also Dante Moore, good Lord, is going to throw for 500 yards. We'll get to that one on Thursday.
I'm building my Saturday around, with other things. I'm like, oh yeah, the Badger game's happening, but I'm not. It's like, okay, Badger game's happening. That's going down. Gotta be in front of this one. But I'm like, hey,
Badger game's happening.
My parents are coming up this weekend, and I'm gonna golf with my dad early in the morning. I'm like, hey, let's get a round in. Might as well before the season ends up. But it's like, that's something I'm looking more forward to. That is what my Saturday is like. My plans are. and looking forward to that versus like Wisconsin, Oregon, which last year was a wire-to-wire game or a fun game to watch. Now it's just like, all right, please just do something. Like they didn't do anything on Saturday.
He's Pablo Iglesias. Riley Yauk behind the glass. I'm Jim Rutledge. This has been the Jump Around, our Badger-dedicated show. Watch us on Thursday at 12:30 as we have Jordan Taylor scheduled to appear.